House plenary stalled. Joint Committee on Constitution Review continues work. And later on the program,
the civil servants who are responsible for production of vote and proceedings, as well as planning the agenda for the next legislative day, should be ready before 11 o'clock in the morning.
Honourable Yusuf Gagdi tells us what went wrong at Thursday's plenary. This is the Hallowed Chambers on TVC News. I am Tijesu Adiru. The House of Representatives could not sit for plenary on Thursday because of the absence of the Clerk of the House of Representatives and other workers in the chamber. A visibly angry Speaker, Femi Gbadabiamila, hurriedly adjourned the sitting, but the bureaucrats attributed the ugly incident to technical issues.
What time did we adjourn sitting till yesterday, Deputy Leader? Yes, we adjourn sitting till 11 and we sit at 11 every day. Where's the other paper? Call me who's in charge of business and rules, whoever is in charge. Business and rules, I want him removed and put somebody else who is more efficient. Okay? Deputy Leader, please adjourn the House.
The Joint Committee of the National Assembly on Constitution Review says it is considering 55 amendments to the 1999 Constitution. It assures Nigerians it is working round the clock to bequeath an amended constitution with a good support base. The leadership of the committee spoke at the opening ceremony of a two-day retreat in Abuja. This two-day retreat is to collate reports on bills and make appropriate recommendations that will be transmitted to state parliaments for concurrence.
As the largest democracy in Africa, Nigeria's constitutional amendment process will surely be watched by other countries in the region and beyond. As I said, really impressive numbers of Nigerians engaged in this process, and they've highlighted reform proposals to further strengthen Nigeria's democracy. Proposals like those that seek to increase the political participation of women, that FCDO has been particularly interested in, and proposals that seek to enhance the ability of local governments to deliver better services to people in their local areas, and proposals that have the potential to enrich Nigeria's democratic experience in its development journey.
Provisions for special seats for women. I know there's a lot of misunderstanding yet about these provisions, but I think it's really key that the National Assembly considers that this would be a significant landmark achievement were it to examine thoroughly the implications of the proposal to create special additional seats for women only to contest. It would help to leave a certainly indelible mark by the 9th National Assembly.
Our task in this retreat will not be a simple one. Our consultants have analyzed submissions from public hearings and memos submitted by the public, harmonized and recommended over 55 bills across the various advertised thematic areas of the amendment exercise. I am aware that we have independently reviewed the consultants' reports or recommendations by way of recouching, making additional provisions, rejecting and even introducing entirely new bills on account of various advocacies and agitations on some issues of overriding national concern.
We shall discharge this duty onerous one with the highest sense of responsibility in the interest of our country and our people. And I believe we are at the last tranche. We should do everything possible, like we give the commitment to allow the bill go to State Assembly before the end of this February.
The President of the Senate, Ahmed Lawan, has urged the military to wake up to their responsibility of securing the country against bandit attacks. The Senate President made this call after a point of order was raised by Senator Bello Madia on the urgent need for the federal government to take drastic action against recurring bandit attacks and kidnapping in his region.
The continuous security challenges and related attacks by bandits on towns, villages, communities, in local government area have meted untold hardship on the people and have subjected the affected areas under serious survival threat, and further worried that if this menace is not drastically promptly addressed, the consequence is going to be huge on food sufficiency.
It is indeed a national disgrace that this thing is happening on a daily basis. Something needs to be done urgently.
What's happened in Faskari local government is just reminiscent of what is happening around Niger East Senatorial District. And I want the federal government to direct and order the armed forces to re-strategize.
Fight against insurgency, banditry, and militancy in Nigeria. The military is getting better funding from the government. And what we expect is to see improvement in output.
Joining me now on the program is Honourable Yusuf Gagdi, representing Pankshin, Kanke and Kanam Federal Constituency in Plateau State. It's good to have you on the program.
Thank you.
You were one of the members on the floor when the Speaker adjourned plenary activities on Thursday. Give us an insight into what went down.
Because he wants discipline in the conduct of the affairs of the House of Representatives. I don't think Mr. Speaker wants to withhold anybody, but he wants to correct the wrongs that keep on going on without attention to it. Naturally, sittings of the House is adjourned to 11 in the next legislative, the next legislative day. And if yesterday being Wednesday, a sitting was adjourned publicly to be reconvened today by 11 o'clock, it is expected that the civil servants who are responsible for production of vote and proceedings, as well as planning the agenda for the next legislative day, should be ready before 11 o'clock in the morning. I was there when we left Speaker's office, entered the chamber, where Speaker complained that there is no any clerk at table that could have, been part of the process to guide the conduct of today's sitting. So he asked before some of the staff came in, and he asked for the order paper and waited for about 5 minutes, and the order paper was not there. So he felt if the sitting was adjourned, yesterday being Wednesday, for today, therefore the order paper ordinarily ought to be ready. Even if members doesn't used to come for sitting by 11 on the dot, the order paper would have been ready and the sitting would have been conducted. So I'm sure he took the decision to adjourn plenary so that he will send a message and make whosoever that is responsible for the organization and production of order paper to be up to his game and ensure that the needful is done and ensure that instrument guiding the legislative conduct are produced before the next legislative sitting days.
But it is not the first time the House will be reconvening at 11 a.m.
Normally, sitting used to be late for 30 minutes sometimes 11:30, sometimes 11:10, 11:15, and sometimes 11:45. I agree with you. But if you are familiar with the Speaker's office, there are a lot of issues that Speaker need to sort out before entering sitting. Speaker normally used to come to office by 10:30. But when you come, and there are a lot of matters of urgent public importance that normally are not appearing on the order paper, he need to wait, attend to the members. Is it an accident in your constituency? Is it a flood in your constituency? How has it become a matter of urgent public importance? Agree with the content of those complaints from members and see whether he should allow the members to take them. At times, yes. Among the 360 federal constituencies across Nigeria, you will discover that there are over 20 matters of urgent public importance that members will want to bring. So Speaker need to wait in his office not to come for sitting by 11 and ensure that those many matters of urgent public importance are sorted out and pick the one he can allow them to appear, to come up as a matter of urgent public importance, while the ones that are not urgent he will refer them to next legislative day to appear as a substantive motion. So these are some of the things that, as a leader of the members, he need to tolerate the members, sit down, but you don't expect that to happen every day. The day that members doesn't have a lot of those issues, sitting should start by 8. And be that as it may, assuming members, speakers doesn't enter sitting until 11:30, 11:15, 11:20, does that warrant any civil servant who ought to have preferred the minute, that is the vote and proceedings of a sitting, to be ready to members before 11 o'clock, having had the adjoining time of the next legislative day to be 11. So if Speaker announced adjournment on Wednesday, that the House is going to reconvene at 11 o'clock on Thursday, the civil servant should put the papers together, the vote and proceeding together, and the order paper, which is the central attraction of sitting of the next legislative day, before 11 o'clock. So that if things being equal, there is nothing that delay the Speaker, sitting commences by 11 o'clock. It is not an excuse because members or Speaker sitting commences 11:30, 10 past 11 or 11:45. It shouldn't serve as a reason for anybody not to make sure that the right thing is done before the 11 o'clock that is announced for sitting to commence.
Is there no chain of communication between the leadership and the bureaucracy?
I personally ask that Speaker insisted. If Speaker cannot just take that decision of adjourning and calling meeting for understanding of what should happen in the Rules and Business Office, he wouldn't have just taken those decisions. He first asked and said yesterday that he is coming to sitting 11 on the dot. So if as a Speaker, he had passed that message yesterday and his instruction is not being complied with, having announced at plenary that this is what is going to be done, definitely you expect him to take drastic action that will serve as a deterrent for whosoever is responsible to not to allow some of those things to happen again.
We also saw that the chamber was practically empty, as at when the leadership came in, very few members on ground.
What is the quorum of the House? That is not even the reason. I expect us not to look at whether chamber is full or not full. You know that you are a journalist, you work in the National Assembly, you know legislative practice, you know what is happening. A responsibility of a parliament is not only when he comes to chambers. When you have committees oversight, committee on Navy travel to Lagos, Port Harcourt, committee on petroleum travel to Delta, will that stop the plenary from going on? If members are out for oversight function, it doesn't mean that the chamber should not function. The quorum of the House is constituted. That was why Mr. Speaker took the decision he took. So the activities, you don't rate the work of a parliament based on the number of the parliaments that are on the floor. It could be possible that so many committees are out there discharging their oversight.
What figure of 360 is the quorum?
360 is not two-thirds majority you are looking for. If, for instance, you have an assembly of 20 or 24, 6 are quorum. The quorum of 24 members is 6. So how many members were there? I entered the floor. We are more than 30. And 30 is beyond the quorum of 360.
Our heads going to roll.
I don't expect sanctions. I expect this decision to serve as a strong warning to whosoever that is responsible for that. I have personally appealed to Mr. Speaker on behalf of, I don't know the officers that are responsible, but I have personally appealed to Mr. Speaker to temper justice with mercy, that even the pronouncement to suspend sitting today, adjourn sittings today, for the reason being that there are not enough clerks at table, as well as the central document that would have guided the conduct of today's plenary was not ready, which is the order paper. I said he should temper justice with mercy. So to me, the position taken by Mr. Speaker is enough warning to whosoever that need to be warned.
The bureaucracy has come out to blame the lapses on technical issues. Isn't the leadership concerned about addressing the challenge?
Speaker, I have been tolerating this. It's not today that some of these things have been happening. At time we enter sitting, he delayed for 20, 15 minutes and be doing some other things before the order papers get ready. So if you ask that question, it sounds as if the man have never been tolerating some of these defects and deficiencies. But it's not one reason that attribute to his decision. It's not about their absent, or it's one about the absence of the civil servant, the clerks at tables that are supposed to be there to guide the conduct, including the presence of, yes, sergeant at arms were there. That is one. Secondly, where is the order paper? After 5 minutes, there was no order paper. Thirdly, he asked that as he was presiding, they should summon a person in charge of the order paper in the rules and business office. The person couldn't come. So that was what led to that decision. It's not that as if Speaker was not conscious of the technicalities or any things could have happened to. By the way, if you are to reconvene by 11 today, haven't adjourned yesterday, and it was announced, all these documents need to be available in the midnight of yesterday, not today, this morning. Even if it is this morning, the officers concerned should have been drawn in shift. It can be produced around 6, 7 o'clock, not at the point that it's 11 o'clock when plenary is supposed to commence and people are trying to produce other paper. I don't think it's right.
Moving forward, what do you think this will do?
I expect them to understand and not to allow some of these things happen again. I have said it. I expect people concerned, particularly the clerk, to talk to his staffs and make sure that everybody is committed to the discharge of his own responsibility. Haven't some of us been appealing to Mr. Speaker to temper justice with mercy?
Isn't it embarrassing that we have to go through this route?
How is it embarrassing? The fault, like you said, if Speaker, you are asking Speaker should be conscious of technicalities or technical reasons, you should equally know that there is no system that is clean. Of course, wrongs are bound to be meted. And the ability of the leadership of the system to correct those wrongs is what is important. So if those decisions are made publicly for those wrongs to be corrected, what is the embarrassing thing there?
Should the House be mulling 2 days of sitting in the week like the Senate?
It's not like that. There is no correlation whatsoever between whether House need to do whatever, sit for 2 days. There's no correlation. The House is committed to his 3-day sitting. But what is wrong is wrong. Even if the entire journalist or community or public like it or don't like it, what is wrong is wrong. It is wrong for people that are supposed to be in chambers by 11 not to be in chambers by 11. It is wrong for people that are supposed to produce order paper, which is a central attraction of the conduct of plenary, not to produce it, have enough whole day to do that at night before the next legislative sitting. It is wrong for someone to imagine, due to the pressure on the Speaker to tolerate and vet matters of urgent public importance which doesn't appear on order paper, and he comes late for 30 minutes, to use that as a yardstick not to do his job at the time he's supposed to do his job. That doesn't amount to members of the House of Representatives trying to make sure that sitting is conducted for 2 days. No.
You spoke about urgent national importance motions. How can the Speaker ensure he does not step on members' toes?
Already there is a parameter to determine which matter is a matter of urgent public importance or not. And it's something that all members are aware. It's a matter that if you allow it not to be taken, it will lead to further consumption of lives and properties of the people. So it's very simple, the divination of matters of urgent public importance. And when you bring up a matter, it wasn't even Speaker that stopped that. It was an objection, point of order that was raised by Honourable Ehimbe in Benue, telling the member that he doesn't think issue of electricity in Bayelsa State could have been a matter of urgent public importance. And Speaker, yes, agree with that. It should have become under substantive motion, but use his prerogative to say that the matter should be considered as a matter of urgent public importance.
Does it mean even the soft copy of the order paper and votes and proceedings were not ready?
But that is why the Speaker queries. If the soft copy was there and the staff that are guiding the operation of the E-chamber were there, the Speaker wouldn't have taken the decision he took. It's the same thing. Assuming you sit on your seat and saw the order paper there, and we saw it empty, it means the system were not loaded with order paper. It means the order paper was not ready.
Talking about bills, speak to me about one of the bills you sponsored and which has just been signed into law by Mr. President.
I feel good that the primary responsibility of Parliament, particularly Parliament, myself, is to make law for order, peace, and good governance. And to make a law that has to do with Federal College of Education, providing education to the people is good governance. It will equally help in improving the security of the people by providing jobs to the people. To make laws, adjust the Police Act, repeal and reenact the Police Act that was signed on the 20th of September 2020 by Mr. President, at the same time providing legal framework for community policing. I believe I have been trying to discharge my duties to the best of my ability, and that is making me feel very, very proud of myself and as a Parliament.
What gap has it come to fill?
It will fill a lot of gap, because when you have a defect in teaching profession and you convert a Federal College of Education of Panjshir to a status of federal university, that one will be able to enhance the quality of teaching and learning process in our various academic environments. That institution is expected to produce lecturers for universities with qualities of teaching with techniques that will help teachers, doctors, professors in enhancing teaching and learning activities between the teachers and as well as the student. That is one. It will create job opportunities, definitely. So there are a lot of important attributes of that bill, but to mention them, I think having Federal University of Education in my state, in my senatorial district, and in my federal constituency, and in a school that I am an alumni, is great, is so significant.
How do we address funding challenge of schools?
You start somewhere. Assuming that institution is not upgraded to the status of Federal University of Education, you cannot be talking about a funding for a university that doesn't exist. Now the university is existing. As it is now with President's signature, take it or leave it, there exists a Federal University of Education Panjshir. So the next thing, you address the problem step by step, is to ensure, yes, there is an existing structure that the school operates as Federal College of Education Panjshir. It therefore means that it's not a university that is on the virgin land. It's a university that has existing structure. What can government do to complement the existing structure? So by God's grace, it will be considered and the needful will be done.
How well have you impacted the lives of your constituents in almost 3 years?
I've been trying my best. I've been trying my best. And I have celebrated my second year in office and presented a mid-time report. I'm going to present a third quarter report to the people. And when the time comes, an array of my achievement will be enumerated and printed. And by God's grace, this time around, I'll make sure you are there so that you see for yourself.
2023 elections are just months away. How optimistic are you that you will return to this seat?
Definitely. I have declared publicly that I am going to recontest. But again, I put it at the back of my mind that God gives power to whosoever he so desires. If I'm chosen by God to come again, I will come. If God decides that it's somebody else, I wish him well.
Your relationship with your governor, how cordial is it?
I am loyal to my governor, but again, I am more loyal to the people that bring me here. I'm more concerned about the relationship between me and the people that bring me here. So I try to balance the two. So if my relationship with the governor is undermining what I should be doing to my people, definitely you would have heard, if you know me very well, crisis between me and my governor. But because we have been complementing, and because my governor is someone that loves my constituency and loves the people of Plateau State, my relationship with him has been very, very superb. I'm his son. He will say this anywhere.
You chair the Committee on Nigerian Navy. How has the country fared in addressing security challenges?
Generally, in my oversight, Navy have done significantly very well in the area of their operations and in the area of administration and the area of provision of infrastructure. Navy have done very, very well. I will say this anywhere. But generally on Nigeria's security, I've never hesitated to say my dissatisfaction from the way the security situation is being handled. I've said this anywhere, and I will continue to say it. Government have done what they can do, but not to my own expectation. Government have not done what I expect them to do.
What are your expectations?
My expectation is that the security situation should not be handled the way it's being handled. It is not the approach to Boko Haram, the approach to banditry, the approach to kidnappings, the approach to breakdown of law and order, the approach to tolerating the law. It shouldn't be the way it is. There should be a very comprehensive approach to some of these things that is happening. I am in government, and as a parliament, if we don't draw line and call the truth and the false, we have problem. So I've said it on the floor of the House in different interviews that we need to readjust our approach to security situation. We need to look at it holistically. We don't need to just tolerate anybody at the helm of affairs as either the service chief or the inspector general of police or what. We need to look deep into their activities, and that is what the National Assembly ought to be doing. And again, take it or leave it. We have been doing our best to come up with over 200 motions and resolutions regarding to insecurities in the country. It's left for the federal government to either implement the resolutions of the National Assembly or not. But we have cried where we need to cry. We have screamed where we need to scream. We have pointed out where issues are approached wrongly, and will continue to do that on behalf of the people of Nigeria.
That is our package for you this week. You can watch the program again on TVC News YouTube channel. Also follow me on Twitter and all other social media platforms to get the latest news and updates from the National Assembly. My handle is @Tijesu Adeoye TVC. Thank you for watching. See you next time.